Welcome to this evening's meeting of the Planning, Development and Licensing Committee. I'd like to advise everyone present that if you hear a long continuous siren, then this is the fire alarm. Please don't pack up your belongings. You should leave the building through the nearest and safest exit by the back of the office through the police stairwell. If your route is blocked, you should exit the building through the main marble staircase. When exiting the building, proceed up the ramp and turn right. All attendees should congregate at the rear of the top car park where a register will be taken. Wait until you are told it is safe to re-enter the building. If you're a councillor, we have added you to the register. If you're a visitor and have not yet signed in the register, please do so now. Additionally, whilst the fire alarm is sounding, do not use the lift to exit the building. Can I please remind everyone to please put your mobile phones on silent and put the phones away for the duration of the meeting, thereby avoiding interference from the iPad or with the microphone. The meeting will be recorded and live streamed on YouTube, and therefore, when speaking, please remember to speak clearly. As the chair of the meeting, I have the discretion to terminate or suspend recording and live streaming if, in my opinion, continue to do so would prejudice the proceeding of the meeting. Recording and live streaming of confidential items will also not take place. To alert me as chair of the meeting, I would like to speak. Please raise your hand and wait for me to call upon speaking. Please remember, if you leave for the meeting for any reason, you will not be able to take part in the vote on the item that has been discussed at that time. Members of the public will be able to view the live stream of the meeting via YouTube. Please can I remind that when you're speaking, you make your points as succinct as possible to allow for the smooth running of the meeting. Can I also take this opportunity to remind you to be polite and treat each other with respect at all times. Thank you. Hello everyone. So the first item would be for public time. So if you'd like to speak, could you raise your hand and I'll. Would you like to start? Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
No worries.
Fine. Thanks again, Marcus, for the invite. We had raised concern about the crossing area street on the kind of a residential island between Park Street, Cam Street, and the A38. It's kind of a triangular island of flats and houses, without any pedestrian right-of-way crossing off of the island toward the shops or toward the town centre. But most people tend to use the crossing right by St. John's Road, St. John's Church, that takes them down toward the shops and to the other pedestrian pathways and cycling pathways, which presents a couple of hazards to people as cars are coming from the A38 on Park Street carrying speed, and there's a lane change for a lot of them there as well, which kind of confuses them more. The crossing area has a fairly steep drop curve and a very narrow pavement, which doesn't always give people the opportunity to pass by one another. As well, the island is quite narrow and doesn't really have space for a person with a pram or somebody in a wheelchair. And kind of what we'd be looking at as a fairly economical solution would be just to make that one crossing a zebra crossing with a sign warning drivers further back where the A38 changes to Park Street, which seems like a fairly economical way to deal with several issues at once, as people wouldn't then have to stay on the island when crossing and have traffic going past. In addition, it kind of makes that steep drop curve less of a hazard, because as it is right now, it tends to roll a pram or wheelchair user out into the road before traffic is stopped. So I know kind of budgets are tight for these sort of things, but that seems like if it's allowable, possibly an economical way to deal with kind of several hazards and give that residential island an easy way to access the shops and to access the other kind of walking areas. That's all.
Great. Thank you very much.
Can I just ask one point of clarity? Can I just ask for one point of clarification in terms of where the arrows are on this diagram you said?
Yeah, so
which is where the crossing you would like to see?
It would be, so as you go east from the A38, St. John's Church is on the corner there.
Oh yes.
I don't know if you're able to pull up a street view, but that would show you kind of how small the island is there. It's on the, do you want me to go up to the screen? That'd be easier if I can.
Yeah,
point out.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, this is actually a map that I put up together from a different view.
Yeah.
It shows the whole Park Street rather than the actual.
Yeah, so this is the other end. So this is St. John's Church here. There is a large island here, but there's no way to safely get to it from this is the kind of the residential island here. There's no way to safely get to the big island where the cycling path and everything crosses. There is, however, a small crossing here with an island kind of in between the two lanes of traffic. That island is quite small, and so with a pram, you know, trying to position a person and a pram in the island is a bit treacherous. And like I say, if traffic has to stop there anyway, then you don't have to stand on that island as vehicles go past. Yeah, I don't know if you're able to get a street view for yourself, so you can kind of see a top-down view of what it is if you're able to pull up Google Maps and have a. Yeah. No, it's a bit.
It's not a pedestrian crossing in the first place.
And people are kind of, as they're coming off the A38, they are carrying speed.
Yeah.
And it might serve as a good pacifying measure to get people.
Yeah, because people whip around that corner up the hill.
They do, and they sometimes have to make a quick lane change trying to get, trying to decide where they're going. Yeah, so if you go west from here, so this is the big island.
It's the one just on the right.
Yeah. So that's it. That's our crossing there. Yeah, and you can see it's quite a steep ramp there. Actually, the whole pavement is a ramp.
Yeah.
So if somebody coming in a wheelchair pushing a pram are really just kind of directed down onto the roadway as they go by. So you know, to have a zebra crossing here, I looked up some of the rules and I think it would be allowable in that spot. And it does, I don't think it needs to have a lit sign or anything. It could just be a sign further back where the A38 comes around the corner warning them that there's a pedestrian crossing up ahead. Because yeah, this is where people are often changing lanes because they come around from, they're either coming from the north or the south, and then they have to go toward the town center or back up towards the upper high street. And there's often people are making lane changes, looking over their shoulder, not looking ahead, and it presents a whole lot of hazards.
It's very fast there as well.
It is, yeah. People are going above the speed limit because the speed limit changes there.
I normally stand on the actual lane because I try and keep the pram on that small bit, and this is exactly as it's my pram, and it's not very.
Yeah, it is. It's quite a narrow.
That's why they can watch the
So
video.
that's sort of what we were looking at, and that seems to be the main crossing that people on that residential island use, because it goes toward, the Tesco and Lidl and toward, if you're going to the town center, you would go that way as well and go past St. John's Church. So that seems to be the main pedestrian means.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll obviously we'll get to that point on the agenda.
Oh,
If you can't stay for that part, then we can update you. Like, I know obviously you've got a child here, so
we can go watch the live stream.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, just to make you aware that obviously with the highways isn't really involved in Taunton Council. Obviously we can advise and we can kind of put our voice.
You're an advisory role.
To Somerset Council, but I just want to make that clear. But
yeah.
obviously that now seeing that, it kind of, I personally think it makes sense. I've not actually walked that way, but now seeing it on the actual street view, I'm like, actually that's not good at all.
It is quite treacherous.
Yeah.
And I think, it's difficult when you're communicating by email to kind of to illustrate it for people.
Yeah.
What people are dealing with there.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Could I say something about that particular subject, if I may? When I come up, I do like to stop for pedestrians if they're on an island in the road. But when I come down that particular part, I would like to stop for people on the island. As you say, the traffic's very fast, and often there's dozen cars behind me, and so I tend not to stop to let people cross.
Yeah, that's exactly what what is.
Some people will even cut the bus lane to get around you if you stop. If you were to
Yeah.
stop there going straight, some people will cut around you to get through.
Thank you very much.
Just point, Chair, if I may. Do we have the contact details, names and things? I presume they have, because Mark has said, that, as long as we've got your contacts, and we can, get back to them, that'd be good.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Katya's got her, her.
Great, thank you. So next for public speaking, is there anybody else would like to speak?
So ours is about Church Street, where we live in Fulton. And as you know, it's a very, very slim road. So we struggle with cars wanting to park on both of the sides of the roads, but that doesn't then allow for another car to go through the middle. So what their cars tend to do is they'll mount the pavement on one side of the road that has the most dropped curbs and driveways. And then it's just sort of causing a mess, really, isn't it? Like people can't get off their driveways for most hitting cars and mounting curbs, both ways, left and right, isn't it, really?
Yeah, so on one side you've got like bay parking, if you know what I mean, so it's marked out in bays. On the other side you've got, I think, 2 bays at either end of the road, and then you've got a massive section of drop curbs, and then a couple who haven't dropped their curbs, and then further up opposite the church you've got no drop curbs at all, where there's just houses, but you've obviously got the church on the left where you've just got bay parking, so the road doesn't necessarily get filled, but some people like to just obviously park outside their house, which is fair. But sometimes if people, especially if you've got a big car, they mount the curb, and like So said, it stops people being able to get their cars out if they've parked and they have to reverse out. It would also, like, to our knowledge, again, we don't drive emergency vehicles, but it would make it like extremely difficult to get, if you had to get to the middle of the street,
You wouldn't be able to.
coming from either side, if cars were parked, it would make it extremely difficult to get like a fire engine, an ambulance, like a full sized, because I'm pretty sure we have a smaller bin lorry anyway that comes up that road. So to get a full size emergency vehicle, I think you wouldn't do it if the car's parked there. So we're just wondering whether it'd be possible to get maybe like a double yellow, so just a no parking sign on one side, to keep one side completely clear, and then the church side, you'd have, obviously you've got all of the space at the church where there's no residents on one side, so everyone could just park in one lane. That makes any sort of sense.
Yeah, and there's only really 2 houses, maybe us and one more, that don't have a drop curb.
Yeah.
So obviously we're the ones that have reported it.
Mm.
But as you'll see from the photo, like it's like 4x4s and like vans and things will park half on, half off the curb, and then you definitely can't get like prams, wheelchairs past them. Like they block our pavement for bins and things. So we've had our bins missed twice.
Yeah.
Just because they can't get past it, or they just
Well, they don't see it if it's a recycling bin, they just don't see it because it's down by the side of the car.
Yeah.
Just going back on your point as well, I kind of understand how what you're talking about, because my wife actually parked her car right on the end of Church Street, so kind of on the edge of Victoria Street going up.
Yeah.
And last year she had the car, it was a full write-off.
Yeah.
And nobody left any details of a full write-off. So, it needs, sadly, if somebody needed, emergency services, all of the cars would be trashed because
Oh,
you
for
can't
sure.
get down this road. So, no, I do understand your point.
We've
So,
only lived there recently, since July, and we've seen a couple ambulances, and they have to park at the end of the road and then make their way up to whichever house they're going to.
And I suppose the fire engine could do that as well, but obviously you'd like to think if it was your house on fire, you want the fire engine or any emergency vehicle right outside your house so they could do
Yeah.
their job. But
Yeah. So if someone sadly passed away at the top of the road, it'd be horrific, because how would they grab them? Get them, take them back in the ambulance and things.
Yeah.
So, and there's plenty of parking. It's never fully blocked, is it? Because
no,
we've got that church.
rarely. And obviously you get on where the theory test centre is, there's a few bays there and there's no houses along there apart from a couple of the flats. So there's always spaces there. So there's not a lot of parking. It's just where people are choosing to park could maybe be slightly better. But it's the far end of the road which is tightest. Like this end here, nearest us, is wider, and as you get further and further up, it gets tighter and tighter, and that's the end because there's not a lot of drop curves at the top. That's where you basically get like 4 cars stacked either side, and it's just tight. very tight.
That end of the road's not too bad because you have got both sides and you can fit a car through it. It just narrows right there.
Mhm.
And you see so many like vans and things pull up to behind those silver cars on the left,
Mm.
and then they just retreat and they're like, oh, can't get through.
For an example, these houses, when they were made, they didn't have cars.
No, exactly.
And now we have extra wide cars.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
yeah, Simon, go for it.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful road. It's such a shame that people then mount the curve and it just makes it all really tight and isn't it?
If it's different periods of the day, it's worse, or is it kind of constant?
It's always going to be like at the end of the day when everyone's coming home. Like during the day, the road's usually fine, but post like 5:30, everyone's home. It's chock a block, especially because now households don't just have two cars; they have multiple for
Yeah.
kids or whatever. It's
Yeah.
always a clamber to try and find, especially down the bottom, to find space, because obviously at the top you have the church where you've got a whole, I don't know, like 25 yard, that whole strip where there's no houses on one side, so they've got free reign either side.
Yeah.
But as you can see, like it does get full up there, and a lot of the time it's cars on both sides at the top.
So I was just going to say, because obviously this is an agenda piece as well, we'll leave any like questions or any surmising for then.
And that's a
so,
question
yeah.
for them specifically.
I guess is it a question for?
No, all I was just going to remark is the fact I've noticed, is it residents parking?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is residents
Yeah.
parking.
It's residents parking.
Yeah.
Is that, I'm just, is that going to make a difference if it's residents parking about whether they actually put in double yellow lines? If it's whether it makes a difference, I don't know.
Is it residents on that
It's
bit in front of your property?
It's just a residence road. It's not marked as a bay. I think it's just a single line way up. I think, or double, but yeah. Yeah, it's like a no parking on like one side all the way up the road.
I sent through another photo. I don't know if you've got it as well, just so you can see how much pavement they do block, like when they are mounting the curve, because you definitely can't get by.
permit holders, it's just say permit holders only. I just wondered if that just makes a difference.
Yeah, no, I don't know. But
Perfect. We'll come to that item. What number is that item? I think it's number 5. So, is there anybody else for public speaking? Yeah. Good. Right. So, should we get on with the? Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So, first item, apologies. To receive apologies or absences approved with given reasons. We got any apologies this evening?
Yes, Chair, we got Councillor Steen for present no apologies and Councillor T sends apologies, but Councillor Fernandez is substituting for him.
Okay, perfect. So the next one would be item 2, which is declarations of interest. Has anybody got any declarations of interest? Councillor Fernandez?
Just to say that I'm ward councillor for Manor and Tangier that it takes into Box Street and also Henley Road.
Is there anybody else? I'd also like to say I do have an interest on the item number 5 because I live on 14 Victoria Street, so obviously I live Church Street, but also the parking issue along Victoria Street. I know it's obviously been raised by a lot of residents as well. So, is there anybody else? Okay. So the minutes to approve and sign as a correct record in the minutes of the previous planning committee meeting held on 24th October. Have I got any comments on that? Those minutes. Okay. Could I get a proposer? Councillor Furman, could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Lester, and if we go to the vote to approve the minutes.
You can still vote for them if you weren't there. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Never quite sure.
Thank you very much. So the next item is forward plan. So members considered planning development licensing forwarding plans. Everybody had a look at the forwarding plan. Is there any comments on this you'd like to raise? Marcus?
Thank you, Chair. It's just the item on the neighbourhood plan, I think I've moved that on to December. I think it was on this agenda item, but we moved that and the Goodland Gardens bridge update to next month as well, because obviously the consultation's just finished on that. So I need to go in, analyse that. We had a healthy over 150 responses to the online consultation, in addition to the 30 or so we received at the drop-in. Been really well engaged with by the community, and we'll bring that back to the next meeting.
That's fun. I was wondering whether we could, maybe it's like a rolling item, have an update on SIL money that's been spent. We don't necessarily need to see all the itemized what has been spent, just to, just knowing what's there and what's left.
Yep, that sounds good.
I know there was a SIL policy that was considered last night on Tuesday night at the Finance and Governance Committee, I believe. So that's very positive to see that that's been developed. And yes, happy to look at bringing an update on spend as a regular item for the committee. Thank you.
Councillor Isaac.
Just one point, Chair. And then on the forward plan, we've got the update, the effect on phosphates issue, and I think that's an full agenda item later today. Yeah, good, thank you.
Councillor Tully, would you like to say anything? Oh, I thought you were going to say that. That's all right. So
Talking to someone more.
that's all right. No worries. So could I get a proposal to approve the future plan? Councillor Isaac, could I get seconded, please? Councillor Furman, could we go to the vote, please? Yeah, that's carried. Thank you. So the next, Councillor.
Sorry, Chair. Let's say again, can everybody speak up a bit? When you get my age, you're getting old and no, seriously, otherwise we can't hear.
Yeah, no worries. So the next item on the agenda is number 5, which is on-street parking restriction request. So on-street parking request, Deputy Clerk Marcus Harrison introduced this item, and then to consider the town council support for the 4 requests for additional on-street parking requests for additional traffic measures. Aaron?
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thank you, councillors, and to the members of the public tonight for coming along and giving further detail about the requests. Obviously, Somerset Council, when these requests are made, they redirect residents to their local town and parish council, and I've been included in the report an extract of the wording. Understandably, they say that the introduction of parking restrictions that has to follow a statutory process. The process is time consuming and costly, so they do not consider requests on an individual request basis, but ask that residents channel these through their relevant parish and town council. If we as a town council fully support it, a traffic engineer will then consider them when considering new restrictions across the whole of the district. So that's part of the process, is why we brought this report to you tonight. There's been 4 requests raised over the last few months by various residents, and they're outlined in the report as to what the particular issues are. So the one on Park Street, which has been outlined, which is for asking for a safe crossing route. The Henley Road matter, which Councillor Fernandez, who's here this evening, has engaged with local residents on, and there is a petition. So they're asking for an extension to existing restrictions to go from 8 AM to 8 PM, as I understand it. There's the Church Square request, which is for double red lines in that particular corner. And then the Church Street, Victoria Street issue. So we've got the local residents here who are asking for double yellow lines in front of the proposed property, as I understand. And I understand, Chair, you have discussed the potential for adjusting that 2-hour allowance for the public on Victoria Street as a potential solution for alleviating the issue on that street. So in terms of, we'll obviously, if you as a committee tonight resolve to support this, we'll let the traffic management team at Somerset Council know straight away. I've sent them the report and said we're considering this tonight. It's unclear if they would look to try and seek any financial support from the town council for this. Obviously, we know the financial situation at Somerset Council isn't great, But it may be that they're on the cusp of making some TROs at the moment, and this could be, some of these could be added. I'm not quite sure. I haven't had the discussion with the officers yet. That will obviously follow tonight's meeting. But yeah, that's everything. Thank you, Chair.
Perfect. Okay, so so really, I think Councillor Fernandez.
I would just like to say that I fully support this proposal.
Councillor Isaac.
Could I have some clarity, Chair, on double red lines are? Or if you know that is, I'm sorry to be.
If I'm correct in saying double red lines is you cannot stop at all. I think it's similar to being outside Bristol Airport for about 10 miles out the whole circumference of Bristol Airport. You cannot stop unless you.
So that's between Hammett Street then and Whirligig Lane, is it, or is it just around the
I can get the
square itself?
photo up if you like. I think the resident that supplied some
Because
images.
there's some awkward scaffolding there at the minute as well, as you go down to the car park behind the Motor Museum, which is quite an awkward.
It's in this particular corner.
Oh, that's the corner where the dentist is, that new implant centre. Yeah,
That's where it comes out from Whirligig.
yes, that's where the, and how big are they proposing these red lines for?
I think there's an image there as to what, can you just see that stuff?
Behind us.
So really, it's completely closing off that area, really.
Where the parking meter
Yeah,
is,
that-
just in there.
Yeah.
So it's wide enough for people to go in.
Yeah.
It's still wide enough for people to get out. Because I'm kind of seeing at the moment, some big parts of it kind of blocked everybody in. So
It's crazy that there's a car park just around the corner. That would seem, yeah, sensible, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That, yes.
Councillor Tully.
Yeah, can I ask who's suggested, is this from the county itself or is it not? Can I ask if it's from the church?
It's from,
If it's the church, I need to declare an interest.
I don't believe it's from, I believe it's from a local resident. It said local
It's
resident.
from me, but I'm not a very good speaker, so I didn't actually say. But can I ask why, sir? I need to declare that I'm the church warden. Oh, hello, I didn't. It's the people who own the dentist, mainly, and in their secretary, they try and get 3 cars into their car park, which can do. Sometimes they try to get 4 or 5. I've known 2 cars to be parked out there before now. And they just do not show any consideration for their neighbour, which is me, or the public, then cannot round to Whirligig Lane on the pavement. They have to go into the road where it's busy with cars parking meters. They have parked on the pavement just a few inches away from our house, which is dangerous. One reversed out once and came a little bit close to my son. It blocks off the light and it just looks ugly. That's my reasons.
Right.
I didn't ask them not to do that, but they said it was their right to park there. And it was my fault for being a resident in the square. Sorry, Chair, that I needed to, in case it was the minister itself had made it, but I didn't know about it, if they had done.
No worries. That's fine. That's fine. Is there any more comments on this item? Councillor Furman?
Yes, on the Henley Road one, I'd support it because they've got the parking right now. It's a pretty efficient service. If they want to go to the hospital, they can use that.
Agree. Yeah, I think all of these items have all their great, they all have really good reasoning. And I think like to actually hear it from the residents and of these individual areas instead of just the county just deciding, oh, we're just going to do these. They don't really know the feet on or the hands on the street. They're just like, oh, at least you guys coming in, wherever you are, you actually see these issues and how it affects you daily. And I think that's really important. And I think as town councillors, I think to hear your voices and actually kind of echo those voices, I think is really important for us. So yeah, I'm for supporting this as well. So, could I get a vote to support this item? Proposer, please.
Yeah.
Councillor Fernandez, could I get seconded?
Just a point, Chair. Are we voting on all of the on blocks or separate
Yeah,
issues?
supporting all four.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
Marcus?
Yeah, the only thing I'll add is in my report, I said that they were requesting 2 safe routes. I think following what they've said tonight, they're just requesting a safe passage and and understood a bit more about where they want the route.
Yeah.
So just with that change.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. So
You can take.
seconder. So, Councillor Tully for the seconder. Could we go to the vote then? Yep, that's carried. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming, and you're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. But
Would it be interesting?
Well, it's not interesting.
It might be. This is the best committee, this
we've got a bouncy castle later.
Excuse me, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much for your time. Yeah.
Next item on the agenda is Somerset Local Plan Early Engagement Survey, which is Deputy Clerk Marcus Pascal introduced this item.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So we've been contacted by Somerset Council, who are in the early stages of developing a new local plan for the whole of Somerset. This early engagement activity with the town, city and parish councils across Somerset looks to collect important information to help understand key issues about how settlements operate, including access to services, facilities, jobs, open spaces and sports facilities. The areas of focus for this engagement exercise include collecting information to inform our settlement assessment and considering options for our open spaces, built sports and playing pitch strategy. If you have any direct questions, they have provided an email address there, which is attached to the agenda, local planning policy at somerset.gov.uk.
Yep.
I think the consultation has been extended to the end of the month, because in the pack I sent you, it said it runs until Sunday the 17th, which is obviously past. They did send around an email saying it's been extended to the end of November, I believe. So they have attached to the agenda is a deck of slides which was delivered at the clerk's weekly update, I believe, and also the questionnaire document as well. One thing I did realise, which isn't attached, which was when I went into the link to the electronic survey and said download, was the settlement Excel spreadsheet. So they've done an assessment of every parish, and in terms of what, because one of the questions there about the services and facilities within Taunton. It's probably quite small for you to see, but I've filtered it down to Taunton, and they've ticked. There's a range of things which I think are listed under question 4, and they've ticked yes on most of them, because obviously we're a large town. We've got most of these things, apart from apparently a community hospital, but we have got a district hospital obviously within our parish area. But they are asking, is this, is there anything else in this list that they think is missing from the assessment that should be added in terms of analysis? So they've got things like pharmacy and walk-ins, 5+ comparison shops, a GP, bank, building society, restaurant, cafe, shop, library, leisure centre, post office, dentists, ATMs, children's play areas. But as you see, it sort of shows that we are quite green on a lot of them. The one thing I did note is question 2, where it says, are there any settlements within your council area that you think are missing from the assessment that should be included? So the only thing they've got as a settlement is Taunton. And so I think, there's obviously 14 wards. You could go back and suggest, actually, we'd like it broken down into the 14 wards as settlements, or just north, south, east, west. I feel like Taunton just as its own as a settlement feels quite, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's obviously for you to.
So, Councillor Isaacs and Councillor Fernandez.
Ed was-
Councillor, sorry, Ed, I think you're gonna have to sit that here. So Councillor Bowman, Councillor Isaac, then Councillor Fernandez.
Yes, so is this consultation sort of just based on the like facilities and services we want in Taunton, or is it, is it also, asking us if there's like particular sites that we think should be developed on at this stage?
I think it's just seeking evidence base at this stage. Yeah, I think it's at the moment it's more about how settlements are operating, and collecting that information. If you look through the questions in the
Sort of key issues, isn't it, in the questionnaire?
and infrastructure priorities rather than identifying bits of land for
I think that was
development.
the next stage, I think.
Yeah.
Councillor Isaacs and Councillor Fernandez.
Yeah, I would agree with comments of our deputy clerk, Marcus, that if that was broken down from one overall Taunton into the different areas, preferably the wards, but not just because some of those items wouldn't appear in all the wards, would they? So it's just to see if the relevant subject or areas of concern are in each ward, so we can identify it better.
Yeah, that's really good. It would show the distribution, wouldn't it?
Yes, yes. But is that something we would have to do as a council, or does Somerset Council do that piece of work?
I think they're asking for us to say, in your area, do you think the assessments are missing from the assessment that should be good? I think it would be for them to go and do that. Well, I can check when I give the feedback. If that's something you want me to feedback, I'm happy to
That'd be good.
ask that
Yeah,
question.
we're busy. If they put the questionnaire out, if they could, break that down for us, would be a good help, wouldn't it?
I guess, yeah, question,
No, you're saying.
question 3,
Sorry, Marcus.
sorry, yeah, I think question 3 says, does that, what we've identified match what is in all the settlements within your parish? So if there are any particular parishes you think don't match that generic Taunton, anything they would probably prefer that could give them a heads up. But I'm sure they'll go away and take that on board.
Councillor Fernandez.
It's just there's a couple of things. An observation. I really don't think they've given us a lot of time to respond to this. I mean, the initiative was put out in October. I think, was it 21st of October, I think, and then the initial date to send it back, I think, was the 17th of November, and they've extended it. But to get this level of information that they're asking is going to take a bit more time, I would have thought, and it would give us as a town council more time. And again, I support Marcus in the fact that I think it should have ward involvement in this, because we're all the wards that make up the town council are completely different. I mean, if we look at Covitrose, Simon, and Orchard Grove,
Yeah.
that's got its own things, because that has, it's almost a small settlement on its own, which has no doctor's surgery. And anything like that, so that's the sort of, potential 2,500 homes with, no on-site things. So I think each ward is going to be different. So no, I agree, Marcus.
I'd say looking at it, I think Marcus kind of said it a little bit, that I think the list they've given us and the time they've given it, like, it must have taken them 10 minutes to have done the list. It's very broad, and I don't think there's enough information really to kind of take this as evidence. I personally think for something like this, which is like obviously evidence based, should be more in depth and should be given a bigger window of time to actually achieve better results. Because again, it could be a thing that we want to do right, and we don't want to be just, yeah, that's done, that's all right, isn't
Yeah.
it? We don't want to be doing
We
that,
don't
we
want
want
to
to do
tick,
it
we don't
right.
want a tick box exercise, do we?
It feels a bit like that, doesn't it? I mean,
Councillor Lester, Councillor Lester?
I was going to say, it feels like they've just, you know, you could say, make a list of stuff that's in any town, and you come up with that list there. It's not, I don't see it being particularly tailored to actually trying to answer any question at all.
No. I think you could literally write Taunton in Google and the highlighted things would be that list. This probably took 10 minutes, like, in a nutshell. Would you like to? Councillor Butler?
Yeah, no, I agree with all the comments. As I say, I think it was the case that because we had all the stuff in the list, they just thought, okay, we can go through it. And another question I'd ask is that could we include like sort of internet connectivity as sort of something to check on as part of community infrastructure?
Yeah, I think that's so.
To review a list and sit and pick what's not there, to be honest.
Should I send this all to all councillors, Jan, so that they could also submit to their response
Yeah.
to this?
But yeah, I think it's slightly more I think if it's put out in a way of just more open for people to give their comments, I think the evidence we personally can give as councillors would probably be more effective than what the list they've probably given us, because we all know what's in our individual wards and kind of what are the residents wants or stuff like that. So I think
Because if that's the format, then actually I think having it more granular by ward, like I said, could push a local conversation between ourselves about what is a more equitable way of dealing with any issues that come up or any funding or any projects.
Yeah.
Because obviously some areas are going to have more of those things in them than others.
Marcus, then Councillor Fernandez.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. The only other thing I was going to raise in this questionnaire, which might be useful for you to give a view on tonight, is the top planning related challenges for this town council. They've asked for them to be ordered in priority, but I mean, I don't know if there's whether you want to do that or you just want to pick out, or if there's something on this list that doesn't. So they've got things like housing affordability, housing availability, adaptation to climate change, ability to walk and wheel to key services and facilities, access to education, access to public transport, impacts on biodiversity, habitats and or the environment, health and well-being. And then there's another one that might be, in terms of the infrastructure to support growth. What do you view as the top 5 infrastructure needs for Taunton? So they've got a list of things in there such as GPs and healthcare, which I know has been raised previously. Obviously, schools, primary, secondary, flood mitigation, broadband, mobile reception, public transport, active travel. Usual.
Councillor Fernandez.
Are they, it'd be all right for us each of individual councillors to feedback on this questionnaire, or are they looking for a town council singular response? Does that make sense? I've had a quick look and it's not very clear whether it's got to be, from, a clerk response, or whether individual councillors can respond.
I'm not sure. I think I saw an email saying that it could be shared with councillors, but I'll double check on that before I send it to all and sundry. I think they've asked that it's not shared with the public yet, but with the councillors. I think they know that it's going to be discussed at town parish council meetings, and they extended the time limit because clerks came back and said, we only meet on most parishes and town councils only meet on a defined window.
Councillor Lester, then Councillor Isaac.
I just say, actually, I think it would be a good idea if we did answer it individually, because it's quite a subjective discussion, and there will of course be some common threads, but if we get everyone's opinion almost in isolation, that'll give us a much better group analysis of what the top 5 actually are. Then we can discuss it, but I think in the first instance, if you did it individually, then you're going to have a better representation of what the overall group thinks.
Councillor Isaac.
Yeah, my suggestion was pretty much the same as Simon's. That if we can put out this questionnaire to all town councillors, asking them to complete this, and perhaps Marcus or another officer to collate it all together to get the, you know, the general
range.
top, excuse me, top items there together. It's something similar to the remote questionnaire that we had that could fill in and put round to everybody else to fill in online. So we did that individually straight through to the local, national government, that went straight back to. But this, I feel, could be put out to all the town councillors with a, please fill this in, call to action, and then we fill it in and send it back and collate it.
It'd be quite like to, on this email sent out to all councillors, it'd be kind of, I think, to be highlighted in slightly different styles, so then when people see it, they actually engage with it, because I think it's quite an important document.
It is. I
Exclamation point.
Great, that makes a difference. Okay,
Examples of
Action.
so I think going back on those comments from everybody, I think, Mark, you've got a platform where we're going to be doing, so then sending out to the councillors to obviously give feedback. I think that's the way. Do we have to vote on this, or just more of a discussion?
I think you vote to note the comments and then.
Okay, so if I have a proposal to put the comments, like to go out to all councillors to then give this feedback, and then Marcus will then send out to the right people. Could I get a proposal on that, please? Councillor Lester, could I get a seconder? Councillor Isaacs, could I get a vote? Yep, it's carried. Thank you very much. Thank you. So the next item is phosphate discussion. Marcus Prowse to discuss the item.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so this is a request for an item on this was made by Councillor Isaacs some months ago following contact from a local resident who I think was very frustrated at the lack of progress with their particular application. Request had been sent to Somerset Council, but unfortunately they've had to decline for capacity issues. Obviously there are lots of towns and parish councils across Somerset that are facing this issue. So unfortunately they can't support attending town and parish council meetings, but they did send across some information which may be of use and is attached to the agenda. There's a couple of slide decks, one of a presentation that was given to the agents panel in October, and also the strategic planning committee at Somerset Council. There was a phosphate progress report taken there in September, and that has a specific section on the Tone catchment, which is obviously the area that we're most interested in. And the minutes for that meeting have been attached as well, which are attached, and they give a good summary of the concerns that the committee on the strategic planning committee, you know, the questions that they had about this issue. So I mean, I'm happy to run through any of these documents if you wish, or if there are any questions. I'm not an expert in this matter myself, may I just add, so if there are any questions I can, so I'll have to take them away and get a response to you. Thank you.
So Councillor Isaacs.
I've been through most of those because the resident is very frustrated with the situation. And I'll give our their democratic services officer a number in a minute, if we could put it on the screen, perhaps, if that's okay, for this specific case, because I think it's quite, it's stalemate. She's just going around in circles, as is her architect and other things. I've read through all of those, and it's very high level and very difficult to pick out what it seems. Now that I don't want to mention names, but the people involved here feel it's a little bit of a, they have been asking to pay money for the offset, which they feel is unquantified, when there is a money set aside for Somerset that can be used for mitigation of these phosphate things. So the application number, could we, if I do it, is 38200046. this is at Quantock Road, on the edge of Quantock Road. The original application went in on the 10th of February 2020. This has been going on 4 years now. They're getting nowhere with it. It doesn't seem, and I feel it needs unblocking and needs some way forward. Is to build another dwelling on the end on what is there. So the garden is quite close to the edge of the junction, but on looking at it, it doesn't seem that bad, but it is the phosphate issue that is the problem.
I think the planning officer did make a comment that, just before I get it up, that the nutrient mitigation fund and the report does acknowledge that the development management service falls short of what we aim to provide in terms of the particular complaint, but I'm happy to get the particular application up on the screen.
Well, I feel if we can get a route forward or just some communication back of a way forward.
I was just thinking, you know, I personally think a good thing would be as councillors across Taunton. I think it would be a very good point. I don't know whether there is a possibility, Marcus, as councillors and part of this planning committee and representing the residents of Taunton, whether we could provide an email on the account of Taunton Town Council to Somerset Council to kind of, you know, show clarity and kind of sort, you know, I'm not saying that this is a national issue, you know, phosphate, you know, just by sending an email, it's not going to remove the issue, but it shows that, you know, there is a pressure point from the town council, which is hopefully being voiced from the town residents, and that this should be, you know, addressed, because, you know, hearing what you said, that's coming up, well, that's 4.5 years ago. So that's a very, very long time ago. And for residents and, you know, who want to get on with their life and, you know, actually do these ideas and actually progress, it's really not fair. And I think it's unfair to be treated like that if you are wanting to do this with your house or whatever. I don't know if that's anybody else's voice, but I think an email on behalf of the town council to Somerset Council to discuss this would be pretty good.
I totally agree, Chair, that we are here to represent the residents or parishioners, whatever we like to call them, and to help them through these sorts of things. And I fully understand the position of Somerset County Council with the staffing levels and the crisis with everything it's going through, and I do sympathise with them. But to say we're just too busy after 4 years for a resident in Quantock Road there, I just find that unacceptable, really. That we need to communicate in some way to and then not to be able to come to town council, somebody from planning, to inform us of what's going on. I found that quite unacceptable as well, really. That you know, we're all very, very busy in what we do, yes. But at the end of the day, we're there to serve the public, yes. And you know, to get that there, and there's questions there, and to go on that long, I think I've made my point completely there on behalf of this application. But it does seem, if you look at the plan and the road layout and where it is, it would seem that it's doable.
Yeah, just going back to what you said, I really I feel strong about the phosphate issue. As everybody knows, that this issue has been around for a while now. It's affecting every possible site at the moment, and you know, I wouldn't want to list the amount of houses it's probably delaying, and even just people's renovations or extensions and stuff like that. And I don't know, on my behalf of, you know, Taunton Town Council, I kind of feel like you know, I think our voice as a town council to finally send a written letter from you know, either myself, the chair of the committee, or Taunton Town Council itself, to actually word the issues, I think would actually speak volume for residents of Taunton, because it's not, in my opinion, Taunton Town residents pay their tax money. That we are the town council to help their voice be eased to help with these issues. And I think if like this resident 4 years later still getting nowhere after sending numerous amount of emails, I think we're finally at that point where we need to send an important email. Councillor Fernandez.
Yeah, I mean, I've just brought up the planning up on my iPad. I mean, on the face of it, it looks like just a straightforward extension to the side of the house. And there's going to be others like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, you know, I agree with you, Chair, that maybe if we as a town council actually sort of, you know, produce something to say actually we support our residents, because this is not going to be the first, it certainly won't be the last. And if it's, you know, also we support people extending their properties because they're staying in our locality. If people are going to come up against this every time they want to extend their property to stay in their house, they're going to want to leave. Well, if we can't do it here, then we'll sell up, we'll move.
Yeah.
So there's the bigger picture, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%. I think as a town council, I think we need to put a hat on this. And as a town council, we need to I personally, we need to be that middle person. We need to have a say on it now, because it's not fair to delay residents, but also this could delay to business growth as well in Taunton. Councillor Isaac.
Yeah, I'm sorry for labouring this one really, but there's some massive housing developments going on. You know, the big companies are building lots of estates, and the houses going up around. You've got this one individual seeing all this other going on, and I can't do my piece. Just for clarity, it is another property, not rather than an extension, but it's, you know, that's in the house a bit, but it just doesn't seem like there should be a way around this to move this forward somehow.
Yeah,
but I agree with you, Chair. If that is a way to go back to Somerset Council, then that would be good.
Marcus.
Thanks, Jen. Yeah, happy to help draft a letter if the committee is so minded to support. I guess I think in the report it says that where there have been a number of major applications that have proposed their own phosphate mitigation solution, they've been able to progress. So they talk about the Staple Road West strategic site and Monkton Heathfield, and also a fallowing agreement at Comitro. So I'm guessing with these larger sites where they've got more land, they can build in their own proposals that offset and
yeah, whereas this particular has been asking for extra money to offset it in that way. I suppose that money would go into one of these other schemes perhaps, but it does seem a little bit you pay some more money when you get it done. Yeah.
So I think going from everybody's comments, I think even going back on what Marcus has just said, in my opinion, it doesn't matter if you've got, like, I've got probably 7 meters at the back of my house. I've got a courtyard. If I want to put, say, an extension on the back of mine, I shouldn't be delayed for 4.5 years. But if you've got hundreds of thousands of acres, you can offset it, but you'll get it done faster. I think we, as town council, we really need to voice this just for people's concern.
I would agree with Councillor Fernandez there that this can't be the only one.
No, exactly.
It's going to come up. You know, we need some sort of rationale around this to help people.
No, I think, and as well, I think it comes to the point that this is a single dwelling that they're trying to do. They're trying to move the town, and I think the little person, if we call, is always going to be the people that drop off of this process, because you're always going to have the developers making more noise or being able to self find the land for the offset. And these things will just, and they shouldn't. So I think we definitely need to try and push our opinion.
So
even if if the outcome was declined or unapproved, at least it would be
No.
that they know they could go somewhere else, or not go somewhere else, but change some plans or work with it just seems to have stopped, and it's.
Okay, so from everybody's comments, I think would be a wise decision on behalf of Taunton Town Council to draft a document to email the Somerset Council, kind of on behalf of Taunton residents as well, to voice concerns on the phosphate issue. I think that'd be a great starting place, I think.
And to refer specifically to the residents and that particular matter as well in the specific.
I think by covering Taunton itself instead of, because like you said, this won't be the only one. I think it covers everybody's voice, which I think is really important. Councillor Lester.
Can we include some kind of a question regarding what is their plan to get out of this situation where people are waiting this long? I mean, it's one thing to say we're too busy. What are they going to do? Can we get actually some solid feedback on what they're going to do to get themselves out of this? Because, just saying we're too busy, as I've said before, it's just not good enough.
Yeah. Okay.
It's perpetual waiting, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so I think with all those points put on then, could I get a proposer for that then, please? Councillor Isaacs, could I get a second? Councillor Lester, could we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
So the next item is number 8, public right of way. Members consider commissioning Somerset Council contractor Kier under the Parish Enhanced Highway Maintenance EHM pilot to remove the historic bollards from the start of the public right of way off of the A38 Mary Street, Taunton. So could we get this up on Google Maps? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Has anybody had a look at this?
Previously.
Yeah, so when Marcia was here, this was discussed because I think it got raised by Councillor Garside, if I'm correct. And I think Mark's just about to get it up on the screen, but you'll be able to see it. Yes, it's those 2 bollards to be removed.
No, that one.
I think if you're right in saying that the contract is to remove them, then obviously repair, say the tarmac area, because obviously there'll be a hole in the ground or whatever, and then it'll be back to use. But I think if I'm right in saying the bollards, if they have any historic use, we'd have them back. Or
They're going to
like
give them to us. Yeah.
give them to us. So I don't know what use we'd be able to do with them, but I guess they're very old.
Sculpture.
Put them in the cupboard.
You can put them in the cupboard, isn't it? Yeah. Do I have any comments on this issue, this agenda item? No. Okay.
Just to say that anything that makes access for wheelchair users or mobility scooters can only be a good thing.
Totally agree. Anybody else? Councillor Tully?
Yeah.
They're
They're not being replaced. This one surprises me because this came up at Somerset Western Taunton Council. And I thought that someone put an objection in because of their age of them. This was what, 3 or 4 years ago.
Marcus? Sorry, then we'll go to Councillor.
You were there, Marcus.
I wasn't involved back then, but we've had no objection from the Rights of Way Service in the report. So they've been made aware. They're happy for them to be removed as long as the council reinstates as the surface of the right of way. Once the work is
But I
done.
thought, I'm sorry, Chair, I thought it was for health and safety reasons that the bollards were there.
They're content that there is no need to place in any substitute cycle gates or anything like that, because I was concerned that was going to be an additional requirement, which would obviously increase the cost. Yeah. When you're there, actually, it's quite a lift. It's probably not, there's quite a gradient there, so they're quite content that Because yeah, there is a risk, obviously, there's the main road, but there is a.
But it's quite a wide pathway there as well.
Councillor Fun? I didn't forget you. Sorry. I need a mirror here.
Right.
Yeah.
Like-
Yes, no, I was just gonna say the cost is about £1,000, and is that, just from the contractors, or is that sort of our cost, or is that the cost of a contractor?
So that will be the cost to Taunton Town Council, Somerset Council. I think when you considered this in January, you made the request of Somerset Council, and obviously with this financial situation, they're happy for us to do it and to use they've got this pilot scheme running where town and parish councils can use their highways contractor Kier and pay for enhancements in their local area, but it won't be something that they will do unless the town council pays to do it.
Okay.
See, okay. Councillor Fun?
Sorry, yes, going from that, I guess, do we have, an earmarked fund for something like that?
I think it's outlined in the report where the budget's coming from. Let me just see. Yes, so the budget is for the improvements budget, 500,740,8.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Is there any more comments? No? Okie dokie. So kind of get a feel from the room to support this item. Could I get a proposer? Councillor Tully, could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Lester, could we go to the vote, please? Yep, that's carried. Thank you very much.
The lady came in with car.
Might just be pattern.
Okay, so we are on to item 9, which is a comment on planning application received from the local planning authority. So the first item, I'll wait for Marcus just to come back in the room and put the items on the computer. So it's item 38-24-0364, which is full planning permission, erection of a first floor extension to the side and rear of 8 Fullands Road, Taunton, resubmission of 38/22-0251. Is there any comments on this application you'd like to speak about? We keep going down. If you go existing elevations would be great. Yeah, fine. If we go back and then go on proposed elevations. So building out on the left, going back. The only thing I did want to, could we get this property up on Google Maps, please, Ollie?
This is Norton Fitzwarren.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's Taunton. It's the other side of the road. It's our side of the road. It's Taunton side of the road.
Grove Gate is the boundary, I thought.
Which one are we looking at? Dragon Rise is next to Linden, isn't it? Linden Road on the same.
No.
Oh, sorry. No, you're right. Sorry, I've got the wrong one. Yeah. It's in the cul-de-sac.
That's
Fullands Road. You know, when I was looking,
I thought, now he knows what to do. Better?
Yeah.
There we go.
Obviously building out on the left and going all the way back. The only thing that I did want to comment on this was the side window on the east elevation, which looking over the neighbours, I didn't know whether once it there was no detail on whether that window would be frosted or it would be a slight difference. You see on that bottom right picture, that window there, didn't know whether that looked in. Because obviously
Obscure light.
it says obscure, yeah, sorry. So yeah, I didn't see any issues with this property at all. I actually thought it enhanced the property. It seems like they're matching all the materials of what was existing. So, is there any other comments on?
From the aerial view, Chair, it's on the corner of Fullens Road and Fullens Avenue, so it's actually on a corner. So it's not going to affect. It's only going to affect that house to the left.
Yeah, no worries.
Which it probably is not going to.
Yeah, that's fine. Okie dokie. Any other comments? Okay. So kind of get Phil to support this application. Could I get a proposer, please? Councillor Furman, could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Isaacs, could we go to the vote, please? Thank you. That's supporting. Thank you. Carry. The next item is 38-24-0363, which is full planning permission, direction of a single-storey extension to the rear of 1 Saffron Close, Taunton. We have a look at the existing elevation, then we'll go over to the proposed. If we go over to the proposed, please. So if you go down slightly. So it's obviously a single story extension coming out at the back. Yeah, I didn't see any issues at all on this. It's at the rear of the garden anyway. Single story, and what's quite good is obviously the doors are kind of not come right at the end of the property, are kind of bent round, so it's kind of all kept in closing. It's all in keeping, same materials covered throughout what was existing to new. Have I got any comments on this application? No. Yeah, I kind of didn't see any issues, so to support this application on those points. So, those reasons, could I get a proposer to support this application? Councillor Lester, could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Isaacs, could we go to the vote, please? Yep, that's carried. Thank you. The next item is 38-24-0370-CMA, which is a Class MA notification. Application to determine if prior approval is required for a change of use and conversion of the ground floor from commercial, business and service use Class E into 3 number of dwellings Class C3 at Sussex Close, 44 Billet Field, Taunton.
Sorry, Chair, I think it's Station
Road.
Station Road is.
Yep. Yep, no worries. The 44 Station Road, Taunton. Okay. If we have a look at the existing and proposed elevations, please. Okay, so also if we look at this, we have a look at the plans as well. That'd be brilliant. You zoom in that right hand property, right hand side. I guess it's a kind of similar to HMO-ish again, but it seems to be all broken down into 3 individual flats, if that's correct. Entrance hall, bedroom, kitchen, diner. Yeah, 3 completely different ones. Have you got any comments?
Sorry, can we just go back to that? So, struggling to see. That's obviously. Is there a shared entrance or?
Yeah, at the bottom.
Sorry.
Your entrance hall.
Right.
On there.
Yeah, it's one there. Just trying to, I couldn't figure out how you got into the one in the middle.
Could we go on the plans as well? I think. Was it the elevation? Elevation. It wasn't from memory. There wasn't actually much change.
It's ground floor, isn't it?
Yeah. The actual 2 items, there doesn't seem to be massive difference to them. You go down. Yes, like signage has just changed, but apart from that.
We'll look at street view.
Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, if you could, that'd be great. Thank you. Very central. I'll be honest, looking at the plans, I don't have any issues with this at all. I think what they're turning what is at the moment back into a residential area, I think it actually pretty good actually. The rooms or the actual flats have everything you need. It seems pretty spaced out in areas towards ones that we have seen in the past. They actually seem like there is storage. No, Councillor Furman?
I guess is the only parking that narrow path next to it, or is there somewhere else behind it?
Councillor
Yeah,
Tully?
I think it's accessed by Morrison's, isn't it? Almost is that the back?
No,
Councillor Tully? Councillor Tully?
that's actually a small courtyard at the back.
Yeah.
And it will take 5 cars at maximum.
Okay.
That used to be the CAB.
Yeah.
Councillor Isaacs?
Just to comment, Chair, I was a trustee of Citizens Advice for about 8 years, and it is quite a nice little courtyard. at the back
It's
there.
not big.
You can't get access from Morrison's as such, but it is quite good.
Okay.
Very nice inside, very spacious, and that, they can.
Really kind of inspired.
Yes, I think.
There's a team amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a few.
No, I didn't see any.
Is that the courtyard purely attached to that building, or do it?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
the little alleyway and then
Yeah.
there's.
Yeah.
So it's not used by
No.
other sheds, other places, no.
Cool, okay. Is there any other comments we'd like to raise? No? So getting a feel to support this application, and what they proposed. So could, I get a proposer, please? Councillor Tully, could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Fernandez, could we go to the vote, please? Yep, that's carried. Thank you very much. So we won't need to do the next item because that's just a copy on typo. It's fine. No worries. So the next item is 9.5, which is 38-24-0371, which is full planning permission, demolition of single-story elements and outbuildings, erection of 2-story and single-story extensions with erection of a detached garage at Westerkirk Manor Road, Staple Grove. Elevations would be. You have a look at the existing plan and elevation. Do we have any comments on this application? Councillor Furman?
Yeah, so the buildings that are currently there are quite derelict. And it's been identified as, there's asbestos within the walls, so it's a shame to lose it, because I think some people took some inside shots and, it's quite a nice sort of residential building, but it's just not really habitable anymore.
It's looking at what they want to propose, what they wanted to do. Like you say, this house goes back to a long, it's got a massive heritage point of view in Taunton. It's been here for a very, very long time, like since the early 1800s. It says on the report. But the house itself, obviously, efficient wise, is well below. It's obviously got its issues with, I think one of the outbuildings completely collapsed. One of the main entrances they want to improve so it would be less of a highway issue for people coming in and out of the property. But I actually think for somebody who wants to take on this property, to actually be wanting to take on a property that's really in a bad way, that hasn't had any money spent on it in a long time, to get the approval from listed buildings as well, kind of speaks volume, really. Because I think a lot of people, they'd be scared of taking on, like you said, with the asbestos and inside it would, the cost of it for renovation of these properties would cost a lot of money. Councillor Lester?
I was just going to say, what's the alternative is we watch it fall down,
So,
regardless of how old it is. So I think,
yeah, and I think
willing to save it.
I think a property of like this age as well, too, if somebody wants to put it back to how it was,
No, exactly, yeah.
and picks it up for the next 100, 200 years, gives it that life, I think we're in that kind of position to actually, well done. You know what I mean? To want to take on a project like this.
It does mean, if they've got to knock a few outbuildings down to make it sensible, then that's sort of a small price to pay.
100%. Is there any other comments you'd like to?
Well, just seeing what they're proposing to replace it. Because if they can do something similar build, but also replaced, I think that would be really good.
Yes. Yeah. It seems to me, I didn't have any issues with this. The only, I just wanted to kind of put up that, they're improving the efficiency side of things and obviously improving the highway safety side of things. That's currently an issue. So I guess this house hasn't probably been lived in with people who have a car, so for a long time. So, Councillor Isaacs?
Yeah, there's one report, Chair, about bat activity, and I know the area from Hestercombe and down through is very bat sensitive, and it says here that there seems to be evidence of activity, and it says there would need to be further reports on that such activity, and some would think, oh, like that would probably have bats there, so we'd have to be wary of that.
Yes.
So maybe a comment would be quite good, that I know that we could propose, if obviously for the bat report, or a more in-depth bat report, but obviously if a bat box was obviously provided, so it's not a big issue, that these things can be put in place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To imagine that a bat box is probably a provision within the
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, was there any other comments on this you'd like to say, Councillor Fernandez?
No, I was just going to say that I guess that the residents in the development that sort of joins to the back of it, the Westerkirk Gate, I suspect that they will probably really welcome something positive happening with it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think I'm all for this application. I think the only thing I would like to say or comment on the way of supporting it is just to comment about the bat report, really, to getting that would be.
It says in the heritage survey that activity surveys were done in September this year and August. And the building is to be retained, so the roost will not be permanently lost. So provision can be retained in the building.
Yeah. Okay, so on that side of things, I haven't got any issues with this application, nor do I need to add any comments. So I think it's kind of Bill from the room. So could I get a proposer to support this application? Councillor Furman, could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Lester, could we go to the vote, please? Yep, that's carried. Thank you very much. The next item is 38-24-330-LB, which is a listed building consent works refurbishment of Starbucks retail unit at Taunton Railway Station, approach North Taunton.
Internet's a bit slow.
I think looking at this application for, all the works they were proposing was very minor, and I think it will make the actual unit look a lot better. If it was major works, obviously to the listed building, I'd be slightly concerned, but because it's very minor and it's going to be improving the actual aspect of the property and kind of carrying it on with its age, I think I didn't have much to say. Councillor Lester?
I was just going to say, I think, I know I was in that weekend. I was in the train station. I think it probably does need a bit of a refurb. So
yes.
I don't imagine it's going to be particularly invasive for building.
I think it's literally minor. I don't think it's very noticeable at all, whatever they're doing. But I think on the listed building report, that, like they said, the all of the works was very minor indeed. So yeah, I didn't have any issues with this. Do I have any comments? Get the application up anyway for us to have a look through. Is that okay with you guys?
Yeah.
Yes. I went there a bit down there.
Somerset's website is going very slow for some reason. I'm not sure.
It's all on it.
Everyone's.
That's not the thing.
There's no applications.
Is it
because I put the LB?
No, 003.
Oh, of course.
I had the same last night.
Yeah,
Yeah, 338 LB.
yeah, it doesn't like the numbers.
Yeah, you missed putting the 0 in. I had that last night. I was like, miss out a 0. I was being.
Yeah, it's not letting me look at the application still. Ah, there I am. Sorry.
Let's have a look at, I think, existing plans, and then we'll go through the proposed plan. Floor plan would be great. Pretty much the main.
So that's the existing.
Yep, layout. So you walk in, obviously got counting on the right, sitting area right there. Yeah, okay. If we go on propose. Third one from the top.
Page floor plan.
Yeah. I think all it is literally putting more seating area. Massive difference at all, does it?
Seats, isn't it? I'm slightly surprised they have to ask.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't have any issues on this at all. Have I got any more comments? Yeah. Okay. Get Phil to support his application. Could I get a proposer, please? Anybody? Oh, now you all come up. Right. I'll pick whoever. Councillor Tully. Could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Isaac. He's keeping his hand up the whole way. Would you like to ask a question? Okay, then we'll go to the vote, please. That's carried. Thank you very much. Okay. I thought you were saying hello to me. So the next item is 38-24-0374, which is full planning permission. Erection of a 2-story extension to the side, single-story extension to the rear, and replacement of a roof to porch at 25 Essex Drive, Taunton.
still taking, I don't know what's going on with the internet.
We have a look at um, existing elevations. Is that right? Existing elevation.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. I think when architects put items out and they put existing and then they put another item that's proposed, it'd be great if they could literally do a document that's existing and proposed. You, when you're looking at it, you can see them on top of each other. And yeah, that kind of makes sense.
You keep going.
Yeah, going back and forth. Yeah. If you go on proposed elevation. So good. Yeah, and if we go on the actual plan of the property as well.
Block plan
So
as proposed.
this. Yep, so the actual layout of the plan. So it would be floor plan proposed ground floor, please. There you go.
Ground floor plan as
Great.
proposed.
Yeah. Then we'll go on the existing. We'll bounce off. Yeah. So pretty much the if I'm right in saying the red line is the existing. And then obviously what they're adding in now is everything that's above that, and a little bit of the green. So I actually think this is going to fully elevate the people who are, living in this house. I think a lot more people are actually doing this. My family actually done this in Glastonbury, a similar layout, and you can't believe the quality of difference of just living. People are now living more in a kitchen dining area than just in the living room. But also, like we spoke about earlier, people are now wanting to stay more in the area because obviously the cost of the expense of mortgages. So it makes sense to spend the money on your own property. But I actually think this is a massive improvement. Could we look at the existing plan, this property as well, please, on the ground floor? I think it's bottom. You see what was there before. It's still large, but I think what they're obviously doing, look, they're ripping the conservatory down, which, as we know, conservatories are hot in the summer and freezing in the winter. So actually turn that into a large kitchen dining room with a flat roof. So it's not that you've got a Velux, whatever, you've just got a light tunnel. So I haven't got any issues with this application. I think it's quite a complementary.
It's interesting to see
what difference,
because when you read it, it sounds like it may be overdeveloped because it's talking about double height and a single story and but when you actually see it, it looks great.
Yeah, I agree. Have I got any comments on that? No? Yeah, so we all happy with this application? Okay, so Councillor Fernandez. Oh, could I get a proposer? Councillor Fernandez. Could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Lester. Could we go to the vote, please? Yep, that's carried. Thank you very much. So the next item is to comment on licensing matters received from the local licensing authority. So the first item is MA-58631, which is a request to vary street trading consent. Taunton Independent Market at Castle Green, Castle Walk, Castle Bow, 4th Street, Taunton. They requested to add additional trading days over the Christmas period, specifically to allow for additional markets on Thursday the 12th to the 19th of December from the hours of 4 p.m. till 9:30 p.m. I think the Taunton Independent Market is a great thing, and I actually think them adding more dates over Christmas is absolutely brilliant. Because I think Taunton is known for the being a market town, and to actually still bring that around Christmas is really powerful. And I think it's always good to for independent businesses as well, local or So have I got any comments on this? Councillor Fernandez.
And I support it as well, and I think there was quite a, when they initially put something out on social media, I think there's quite a really good feedback from public to say, yeah, do it.
100%. I agree. Councillor Isaac?
Just looking at the attached plan, Chair, the second view seems to be a lot of stalls or on the actual grass now. Would that be correct?
There is.
Because usually it's on the hard standing there on Castle Green, isn't it? And but it looks like these facilities more for going on the grass.
I will say, with their independent market anyway, there is stalls on the grass.
There is,
anyway. And it kind of goes all the way, like the full depth of the grass into kind of a rectangle shape.
Yeah.
So I think really what they've kind of put in is quite similar to what they're doing at the moment. It just looks slightly extended, like you said. Normally, if you have a look in, say, this picture here.
Yeah.
Normally the stalls kind of go, if I'm right, sorry, it would kind of go like that.
Yeah.
But they're kind of coming a little bit over here because I think is there like a pub here? I think there is.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're going a little bit closer to the pub now. But you know.
No, that's fine. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's reassuring. They think it's going to be worthwhile.
Yeah, I think
It's just good news, isn't it?
really positive. Yeah, I think so. Have I got any comments on this? No. So to support this licensing application, I'm just going to get back to here a sec. Could I get a proposer, please? Councillor Lester. Could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Tully. Could I go to the vote, please?
Yeah.
Carried. Thank you very much. Okay. Next item is MA-58558, which is an application for a minor variation, the Southern Cooperative Limited 33 Wellington New Road, Bishop's Hull, Taunton.
There are no applications received. No, sorry, no attachments. Yeah.
I can't see any information on the licensing page on Somerset Council. The recent license application is not listed.
Could we be we just state the obvious and say there's not enough information given on this application, because obviously there's no information given. So could we leave it as a comment that not enough
What is the minor variation?
Yes. Yeah.
I'll nip in tomorrow and ask.
Give them where it is.
Is that okay? Yeah, okay. So on that account, to comment that there's not enough information about the variation. Could I get a proposal, please? Okay, so to propose it, we've got Councillor Fernandez. Could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Furman, could we go to the vote, please? Yep, that's carried. Thank you very much. Next item is application to vary premises license Starbucks Taunton Railway Station approach North Taunton TA1 1QP. Yeah.
That's the license for alcohol rather than the actual planning, isn't it?
Yeah, I think in red, they're saying just in that area, all area to be licensed for the sale of alcohol. Alcohol may be displayed anywhere within the store. Do I have any comments on this? Yep. Okay. So, there's no comments, I guess, to support this application. Could I get a proposal, please? Councillor Tully, can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Lester, could we go to the vote, please? Okay, so that is a total of 5 people support and abstain. Yeah, abstain. Thank you. Okay, next item is application for a pavement license, Mr. Miles, number 3 to 4 High Street, Taunton.
So if you want to make it even bigger, does it?
Is it a re-application for what they've already got?
Is it?
I don't know, that's what I was asking. It was all quite innocent.
I mean, the only thing I wanted to comment on is I think Mr. Miles is a great cafe restaurant, and I think it's a really good prime spot to be at. Just by looking at the plans, I may be wrong, but I think looking at the plans, it just looks bigger than ever before, if that makes sense. Like the plans itself, I think originally it would only come out to halfway where those trees were, but it looks like it's coming near enough the whole width and leaving only a 5 metre gap to the Boots Chemist, which it looks like it's nearly doubled in size of what it originally was.
Well, it says seating, I hope, for 120, doesn't it?
Goodness.
On the thing, it says, is that all of it, or is it?
On the,
I lost my thing.
the papal, the penned plan, it says 4.5 metres, doesn't it, from Boots? Yeah, 3 metres from the actual mile shop, which is 9 metres wide, 24.5 metres long.
Have you got has any, could we get up on, on their website or something with a view from the outside of the restaurant currently? Because I'm sure they'd obviously promote that.
It definitely says maximum number of people allowed in the part of the relevant highway, 120.
Yeah, so that'd be the actual path itself rather than the shop, which I think is too much. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you have a look at that at the moment,
This is an image captured in May 2018.
yeah,
So
that's
this
changed.
is 6 years ago.
Because if you think about it, that's actually closer at the moment, and I'd say it's slightly wider coming out this way where the different coloured kind of patio is. It's all undercovered, but it kind of, I don't know, it just seems on that drawing. I don't know whether they've obviously the 4.5 metres they've drawn is actually looks the same size as 3 metres on the picture they've drawn.
It's not to scale.
I wouldn't say it's to scale, so but looking at that at the moment, whilst looking outside Boots, that does look about 4.5 metres from the door. So going on that, to revert to, okay, it is, no, it is acceptable to revert to the smaller Thursday plan on other days of the week in the event of adverse weather, as placing gazebos closer to the building provides more protection during the windier period.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so you've got the farmer's stall for
So
in.
that is like doubling it, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Have I got any comments on this?
Well, they also put the hours between 7 and 11. 7 in the morning to 11 at night, every day of the week, where they please specify the hours between which is proposed to have the furniture on the highway, which is quite a long given. Whether that was an existing part of it, but it seems to be bigger and at longer hours.
Yeah.
But it's also just they're going to put it away and get it back out again.
Yes.
I don't think they're going to do that, are they?
I know we had it past meetings, the comment of keeping all of these pavement licenses sort of concentric, so there was a good route for disabled people or people with pushchairs or mobility aids, so they can walk down through. Because if you go down to by the entrance of Bath Place, that surface there is quite uneven now, which is just to the edge of where this proposed extension for this would be placed.
Yeah.
And I'm just wary of with, you know, mobility scooters and other aids going down through there at busy times.
Just from obviously the drawings, it just looks like I personally it looks just too vast, like it's too big for it's nearly as big as the actual place now.
Yes, yeah.
Which I think it's taking too much space up for, like, you know, like you say, for passers and, you know, a volume amount of people on a day-to-day basis. Councillor Fernandez.
You bring your tape measure with you, Connor. How in terms of 4.5 meters in this room?
Yeah.
If we go from this table, where does that go to?
So I'm going to say 4.5 meters is probably from the edge of the table to probably, I'm going to say Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, about Ray.
That's not much.
No, it's too, that's a long way. It's not as long as that 4.5 meters, I would
Can
think.
you say back right,
We'll be back here.
Yeah,
edge of the table?
Yeah, edge of the
That.
table to mine, to the back of my hand.
We'll go to the van and get a tape measure if you like.
That's probably about 1.2 each table edge. Long table edge. About
So the layout that's on the photo now, is that the smaller?
I think that's just,
That
I
now.
think that's just a historical photo, mate. I don't think
Yeah.
that's, and it,
No, that's May 2018, so that's
Yeah.
quite a long time ago.
I think it's very different than that already.
yeah. Change it 3 times.
I just think it's big. I think it's a bit big.
What is the comments that we can put back on this item then, Marcus? I know it changes on the licensing to what,
I don't think we've ever received any, I think it's just comments that it's not the same as with the premises license, which is the alcohol with the 4 licensing objectives.
okay.
But I think in previous ones, like you say, you've raised issues where you've wanted to talk about, you know, access and things like that. They've been passed on and fed back to the applicant by the licensing
Yep.
service as sort of acceptable conditions.
So really, we could comment this item.
Yeah.
I kind of get a feel like, you know, at the end of the day, I think what Mr. Miles' company, the cafe does is a great thing, but I think it's just pushed out that little bit too far. I think now, that's in my personal opinion, but I think you, Councillor Isaac.
I think it's a little bit unclear actually, Chair, because this is application for pavement license. So is it 1, a renewal for the current pavement license? Or is it 2, an application to have a larger pavement license or a larger area, what they're asking for? Because I feel it's a little bit unclear what it actually was or is looking for. Was the existing one 120 people?
I believe, if it's okay to come back to it, I believe that they are given for a defined period of time so that we do get some of the businesses coming up.
Yeah.
So I think later
So
on the
it's
agenda,
just
there's
a
other,
renewal. Well, I'd say if we ask for further clarity, is it to renew the license or is it an application for a larger?
I think it says on the form renewal under, is this application for a new license or renewal of an existing license? But it doesn't say if the renewal is for a bigger
area.
No.
area or longer time period.
Yes.
And it says plan doc as well, which kind of tell me that they're obviously once they're putting their renewal in, they're just kind of just adjusting the plan slightly. Like you said, renewals is that yeah, like you said, I think there needs to be a bit more clarity on this because it seems a bit unclear. And also in their drawings, 4.5 meters, like I said, is actually drawn the same as 3 meters. So I think it doesn't seem that clear what they want to actually.
The hours, I think, yes, the 11.
Yep. Okay, so on that behalf, would we be able to leave comments on behalf of, like, there's not much, I would say, information and depth on the actual plan and also on the hours they were posing. I think on that behalf, I guess that's what we'd agree. Could I get a proposal on that, please? Councillor Lester?
Are we able to ask the question, is this just a like for like view, or does it represent an increase in area? That's the part that I'm not clear on. Because if they're just asking what they already have, then from my point of view, I will, you know, we all walk through there, it's fine. But if it is actually bigger and or if it's not bigger and we just think it looks like it is because the drawing's not very good, then that's something completely different, isn't it?
Because for one, it says application for a payment license, but then when you go on it says renewal, but then there's showing us a plan as well, and it's kind of like, well, you know, you're renewing for what you've got, or you putting an application for a bigger size.
Because if it is like for like, then I've got no issue with it at all. If it's getting bigger, then it's already, you know, that's where everything narrows up on the pedestrian area, isn't it? That's where it's a bit congested.
I agree. Okay. On that behalf, could I get a proposer to Councillor Lester? Could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Isaacs, could we go to the vote, please? Okay, that's carried. Those items listed to comment.
Yeah, I got them down.
Okay, thanks so much. So the next item is MA-58642, which is an application for a payment license at Blue Moon Cafe, 39 to 40 High Street, Taunton.
Very similar, Chair, but it's for 30 people, not 120. I believe they have a payment license there already, do they?
They do.
They do, yeah.
Have got any comments on this? Is there any way we'd be able to get this up on?
Oh, sorry.
The first section of the pavement cafe in front of restaurant is 5.5 meters with a depth of 4.5. There's a meter wide walkway for the general public before the second area of the pavement cafe. Second area is 3 meters wide and 3 meters in depth. There will be maximum of 10 tables and 34 chairs. Minimum of 1 meter between separate customer groups seated back to back. Okay. Yeah, would you like to add?
Do you want me to just read it out?
Yeah, that would be really helpful, actually.
Sorry, councillors, I've just had a message from the community in place manager who's watching along at home. And he said that Mr. Miles has actually maintained that area size for the past 3 years for occasional private evening parties, has been the reason for evening times with a license allowing flexibility in schedule. Last year, 2 or 3 such events were hosted. And the setup also ensures accessibility for those with mobility issues and also supports the farmers markets on Thursdays. So that's just a bit of context there from someone in our officer team who knows the town centre quite well and why those particular arrangements have been.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, wherever you are. Thank you. No, I
No, that helps. If
I think that's giving
if
clarity.
it's existing and then fine.
Yeah, we're fine with that.
So on the so on the item one that we're currently on, MA-58642, we'll come back to that one in a sec. Can we just shoot back to the one we've just gone?
Do we need to revoke standing orders if they wouldn't be a decision?
I guess I can still revert back to the comments that were about the plans.
Yep.
And the further information. We can still seek to honour that. It's just I want to share that information.
Yeah, I think
Thank you.
I think that's
rather than we
it would have been, you know, great if that information, like you say, was given with the actual application. It's, you know, so that is good. Okay, so anyway, we'll carry on with MA-58642 then. So yeah, going back to the payment license plan, has anybody noticed anything I've seen or you're all happy with it? Yeah, Councillor Isaac.
No, I reading the text on the which is on the screen now, which I've got here. There's a metre wide walkway for the general public before the second area of pavement. That's the blue one. Yeah, but a metre width is not very wide for a walkway if you've got disabled you know, mobility scooters or people with wheelchairs or walking, you know, metre wide is very, isn't it? Very small between that first batch of tables and then the second ones.
Yep.
And there's only 3 metres the other side, is that right?
It says the second area is 3 metres wide by 3 metres
That's
depth.
4
That's the
tables.
other 4 tables, isn't it?
But how much space for pedestrians is there then on the right hand side? It doesn't actually say,
It
does
doesn't
it?
say, no.
No.
Councillor Fernandez.
Because I noticed this is also a renewal. So I'm guessing that layout that they've got there is in use already.
Yes.
Because I think I can see in there is
Yes.
a walkway between the tables. Again, if it's been working and if it's worked previously.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. All right, so we're getting a feel to support this application. Could I get a proposal, please? Do
you want us to provide the comment about the metre walkway being there or
think if it's working already, I think if no one's, if, I don't know, if people object to this kind of thing anyway, but if there's no comments or no one's getting feedback that everything's a bit too congested, then I think it's fine.
It's a bit, Chair, it's a bit like the previous comment I made about a straight through walked fare or a travel down through. They might have to go to the right hand side of view there to go around that. And you know, it's a bit of a zigzag, but that's, is that a problem or just a perceived problem as far as we're concerned, sort of thing? I think it might have implications with visually impaired people if it's a lot of higgledy-piggledy going around down the town centre.
I think it's the
street,
and also nature of the high street having all the trees and stuff like that through, and the planters throughout it, that you are kind of, the shops are on the right, the shops on the left. I think it's kind of the nature of the beast.
It's meandering and it's bustling. It's gonna be.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, all the trees run pretty much dead center down the whole of the run of the.
Yeah.
This is a different cafe, but they've got a similar kind of arrangement.
Somewhere walk.
Setup.
Actually, there is one thing I did notice. This was back in the summer. It's just come to mind that the walkway was on the main drain, and this kid had, I think it was just a learning to ride the bike, and they had to walk through this meter wide strip between Blue Moon and the other seat, and they're walking through this drain, and their tires were kind of pulling them off to, like, you know, not straight lines, which I thought was a bit, you know, for, like you say, people who've got walking sticks or with like it just didn't really seem like the best place to have a 1 meter walkway straight for a drain line, really. Just remembered that, actually walking past it, thinking, oh, you know, that could highlight a possible issue. But I guess, like you say, if it's been renewed and it's been going like this for years, then
Maybe people would have raised issues.
yeah, 100%, yeah.
Craig has said it.
And no change. They have had tables there. Yeah, perfect. Okay. No worries. Okay, so it's Big Brother. Okay, so to support this application, could I get a proposer, please? Councillor Lester, could I get a seconder? Councillor Isaacs, could we go to the vote, please? Yep, that's carried. Thank you very much. The next,
I just need a time extension for half an hour.
Yep, no worries. So for a time extension, could I get a proposer? Councillor Fernandez, could I get a seconder? Councillor Isaacs, could I go to the vote, please? Carried. Thank you very much. The next item is application for payment license at Castle Bow Bar, Bras Bar and Grill, Castle Hotel, Castle Green.
Changing that has been on
Renewal,
isn't it?
renewal again.
Rules, isn't it?
And I like the fact that it's all kind of guided off. We've spoken about this in the past.
I think it's a little bit different.
I personally don't have any issues with this application. It works.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah,
it's been that way as far as I'm.
it's a very wide walkway. Even when you've got the independent market, you don't notice it.
No.
We've got any comments on this? So to support this application, could I get a proposer, please? Councillor Lester, could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Furman, can we go to the vote, please? That's carried. Thank you very much. Counted that Leicester's given me 15 proposals now.
There's only 5.
Sharing it about, honest.
Yeah,
Momentum.
the next item is MA-58706, which is an application for a payment license, Cafe Nero, 15 Fall Street, Taunton.
It's big as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
that
definitely
that looks the same as it has been. So again, no worries with this one.
Don't have any, yeah, it's just renewal again. So I think it works quite well. They've got the barriers as well, and I think there's a good amount of seats at the front to not be any issues. And it's a very wide walkway as well. So I don't. Have I got any comments on this? Could I get a proposal, please?
No.
All right. Could I get a second? Councillor Furman, can we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Thank you very much. Didn't need Big Brother on that one. Right. So the next item is submission, comments, feedback on behalf of the town council to notification of the planning application. There's 3 items on this list. The items are, I'll list the 3 and then we'll go through from first to last, which is 38-24-0340-CMA. And the next item is 38-24-0334. And the final item is 38-23-0343.
347.
Yeah, sorry, so many numbers. And the first item, if we discuss, is 38-24-0340-CMA. Which is an application to determine if prior approval is required for a change of use and conversion from commercial business and service use class E into 5 number of dwellings class C3 at Somerset Probation Service 11 Cannon Street. Oh, okay, so could we start with Google Maps? Marcus is on the pace, ready? Anybody have any comments so far? Councillor Isaac.
There's an awful lot of work gone on there already, Chair. So I wonder what that work is this relating to this perhaps, or
This is the,
yes.
yeah,
Scaffold's been up.
I think just right.
I think the scaffold.
Yeah, but
will be
they
built
are,
into that.
yeah,
They're working,
yes,
yeah, they're working inside as well.
yeah, they are working.
They're
Right, yeah.
working some of the,
Last few weeks, and it's got really active there with working.
I kind of, I always think if we have a look at the existing floor plan, sorry, and then we'll go back to the proposed. I think with properties like this, it's similar to the, if I'm right in saying, the milkshake place at the back of where the Weatherspoons is. These properties are just there. You kind of walk past, they're always they're not the prettiest sights when you walk past, but actually if somebody's willing to pick up these properties and actually turn them into, if I'm right in saying, a residential property instead of just being lying there rotting, as I think, yeah, a bit of food for thought for sure. So this is existing. So as you see, you've got the office, you've got the reception, and then on the first or second floor, you've got another office. If we've gone now what they've proposed, so the ground floor, you've got one, so you've got a two bedroom in flat 1, and in flat 2 you've got 1 bed, and flat 3 you've got another 1 bed, but they all come with kitchenettes and bathrooms, if I'm right in saying en suite. Is that right? Have we got any comments on this application? Councillor Tutton?
yeah. Taunton needs these kind of properties. At the moment, we're it's very short of 2 and 1 bedroom places.
Yeah.
And I think this was a good idea. I think it really does need to be supported.
Councillor Lester?
Yeah, normally I have got my soapbox about them being too small, but the ones we've seen today just seem that bit bigger, that bit more better thought out.
Yeah.
So
And the great thing is there's a lot of parking at this.
yeah,
So there is parking for people. There's cycle shelters as well, which is great. So they're kind of keeping that in mind for people who are kind of working in the town who don't need a vehicle, which is good. Councillor Isaac?
Yeah, just going back to the wording of what we're looking at, Chair, it says application to determine if prior approval was required for a change of use, rather than looking at the plans. Is that what we're looking at, Marcus?
yeah.
Just if prior, if the change of use rather than the plans itself?
Yeah, I think when we had the planning training that set out the delineation, wasn't it, between, so this isn't an application for a full planning application yet.
Yeah.
So it's that class MA notification.
Yeah.
At this stage.
I don't know if it's necessary, would be the truth of the
Yeah.
matter. So if the question is it necessary, the answer is I don't know.
I missed the training, Chair.
Yeah, me too, sorry.
I think personally on what it used to be, obviously a commercial
Going back
property,
downstairs.
now they want to turn it into a residential, say, dwelling. I think what they want to achieve, I think, is the right way of going about it. You know, I think this scaffold's probably been up for 3-4 years now. It's been up for a long time. Yeah, but I remember maybe even last year or the year before, that scaffold was still up. And I know it's been up a long time. Yeah,
I seem to remember this has been when I was on the planning committee last year. I'm sure it came to us as a planning committee. I'm sure we've looked at this before.
I don't think.
I think I remember Roger House making comments about the cycle provision.
Yes, sir, we have seen, we has been to us before.
Or was it
and then-
Roger? Not Roger, sorry.
But I mean, they did
Cycle.
talk about the cycle lockers, because I distinctly remember we did discuss this at planning, so
Okay.
unless they changed the layout maybe and brought it back.
Yeah. But on the actual application determined if prior approval is required for a change of use, so changing use from commercial to a dwelling, I haven't got a problem with.
No.
So I think on that basis, I
Yeah.
think from everybody's kind of point of view,
Yeah.
I think to support his application.
Yeah.
Could I get a proposer? Councillor Tully, could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Furman, could I go to the vote, please? That's carried. Thank you very much. The next item is 38-24-0334, which is change of use of commercial offices into 8 one-bedroom and 2-bedroom flats at 11 Hammett Street, Taunton. Okay, yeah, I've read that. So I think they did actually have, right in saying, they had like some pictures of, if you go up for a sec, yeah, pictures, let's go on the picture. So having worked in London before, and these properties that were like commercial estate agents and stuff like that, to then turn into flats again, or to actually turn into residential, I think is brilliant, because like I think these properties were built to be houses back in the day, and I don't think when they become commercial they never get appreciated to what they're actually, their value of heritage is. They just kind of, you know, just don't get looked after. So I think to actually turn that back into residential and actually see people going in and out of that house and being used properly, I think puts it back to its heritage like roots, and also it kind of brings it up to date for the next 100 years again. But I think on one of the things they showed like a picture of the inside, and it literally looks like a time capsule. I think it'd be quite a. Seems like I've got everything there that, you know, the firewalls upgrades, they're really going to town with, you know, making it right. Where is it?
I agree with all you said. I think just I always come back to the one thing, are the units always big enough?
Yeah, and that's kind of, if we could have a look at the what a strange picture to yeah, if we go on the actual plans, just I just want to have a look over like proposed floor plan, if you go up a sec. There you go, floor plan, second floor, up.
Yeah, those two.
If we have a look at those, just kind of get a kind of feel on the 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom flats, because if we have a look, zoom in a little bit. So the light blues are 1-bedrooms, and the 2, and yeah, they seem sofa, kitchen, dining room. You've got
they're kind of borderline, some of them, but
Yeah.
they are. Right. At least you can see that you've actually got space for a wardrobe in the bedroom. You've got.
And the good thing is they've all got their own, they've all got their own bathrooms, their own kitchens. Because in the past we've seen these properties where they got sharing bathrooms and sharing kitchens, and they're probably, you know, they're a lot smaller than that. So, have we got any comments on this item?
Can we just look at the ground floor as well?
Of course, yeah. If you go the ground floor, Councillor Isaacs and then Councillor Fernandez.
What I would say, Chair, in that we almost bought one of those buildings once, having good look.
Are you showing interest then? Are you?
No, I'm not declaring interest. This was a few years ago. They've been modified so many times that the floors, one of them, the second floor overlaps the neighbour of the ground floor. Do you know what I mean? So they've all been, so I don't know whether that has any bearing or that really put us off of buying it. But they are so nice. And I just one more comment on the detail there. There's 13 members of the public that have written in, and they're all in favour. What a lovely place that this should be changed. This should be kept as residential and not commercial. And I thought that was, I've never seen so many letters of support for an application.
Yeah. I remember working in King Square last year, and it's a similar property, like I'd say same size, all the same sash windows. And it's quite funny. One of the bedrooms in this property, the door that actually links into next doors, it's still there. It's been blocked up, but the door is all in place.
It's similar in that building. It's really strange.
Yeah. So we're upgrading the firewall and kind of dividing them up into working efficiently for those flats. And I think the person spending the money and putting the plans in obviously it sounds like they know what they're doing correctly, which is good. Councillor Fernandez.
Now, I was just going to, Councillor Isaacs has just said it, but usually when I look at the any planning out, I always look for comments, representations from members of the public, and so on. It's a bit BIPOC-obsessive. So yes, I think it's good that there's so much support for them.
Perfect. So I
think there's a lot of people out of town as well. They're simply from Exmouth and some, big variety of locations.
They bought one of the flats. No, I'm joking. So could I get a proposal on this? Councillor Tully, could I get a seconder? Councillor Isaacs, could I get a vote, please? Yep, that's carried. Thank you very much. Okay, so the final application is 38-23-0347, which is a variation of conditions of number 2 to amend the approved master plan and add parameter plans condition number of 4 relating to delivery of the Spine Road, condition of number 25 relating to delivery of the Corkscrew Lane temporary access of the permission with reference to 34-16-007 for the development of the land at Staple Grove West Taunton, the Staple Grove Garden Community. Councillor Furman.
Thank you. Yes, I'm in regular contact with Simon Fox, who's the Somerset Council case officer, and he said that any comments we put in tonight would be too late for his report. So I put in my comments individually as a town councillor. So I'll just kind of read them out if that's okay.
Great. We can still add these if we can, Marcus.
Yes, I think, Chair, he said that he could make the verbal updates post tonight. Is that because of the meeting that's taking place in December, the report is, so we can, it's not too late for you to make comments as well.
Just comments, it just won't be part of his report that he presents to.
Yeah, fine, go for it, mate.
So I'm supporting the changes, make the original conditions and support this application. Removing the usage of the drop-down road at Corkscrew Lane and moving the employment land to a more central location and giving definitive conditions to completing the Spine Road, so that should any eastern developer fail to progress their applications, will be more cohesive to current residents and give better assurances that the main elements of the site that will make it a community are not abandoned because of feasibility. if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's right.
The inclusion of foot and cycle paths along, the inclusion of foot and cycle paths along Banner Road to give safe passage to some of those parts will help give cycle and walk links between the two sites, as well as make it safer generally going into Corkscrew Lane, which, if you've ever been down there, is a complete blind bend with no pavement. As town councillor representing Staple Grove, I would like to highlight that because the employment land will be in a residential area, the type of business that occupy it must be retail or office and not include industrial complexes or engineering work, as that would cause great disturbance to the area that will be rural but also residential close to dwellings. There are still chances for League Planning Authority and for future management authorities to connect the southern parts of Staple Grove, such as Shoal Park and Hudson Way, to the new development by creating traffic calming and perhaps overbridges that bypass the A358 on Staple Grove Road. For now, the traffic lightened entrance that is parallel to the paths that enter the south of the village will provide a safe route that can be achieved within the development. And that overbridge I'm referring to is from a comment of one of the residents from there, John Critchland, which he proposed putting like basically a bit of an overbridge that'd be for pedestrians and cyclists that would connect Shoal Park area to near the entrance of the Spine Road. Now, I've talked to Simon Fox, and within the case for this application, the developer won't be doing that, but it's something that possibly we as a town council could use civil money for, should we wish to. And in terms of the Spine Road conditions, it's changed so that it's now going to be from 150 houses occupied. The Spine Road must be built out to the west, and if the eastern developer hasn't been found or put in an application, it's from 250 houses, I believe, occupied, that then the western developer, Bloor, must complete the Spine Road going out to Kingston Road.
No, I think it's just those are exactly the things that we need to make sure are identified, because one of the, talking about my big development over in Combridge Road, one of the biggest bugbears of everybody is that the Spine Road will not be completed and won't be required to be completed for an awfully long time, and which is unacceptable when there is literally nothing we can do now. It's all predates us. So making sure that particularly the public areas and the roads are completed at as early a stage as possible in the development, I think, is key to all of these every time.
That's the time.
Yeah, I partly agree with you and I partly disagree. If it had been me, I'd ask for the Spine Road put in first. If you think of West Monkton and Monkton Heathfield, one of the roads was 2 years behind time, the other one was 5. I would suggest that the Spine Road goes in immediately.
One of the things that the developer has said, going through Simon, is that they are going to be, building the Spine Road first so they can gain access to the site. And, also a condition is that if 5 years do pass and, there's no work on the eastern side, then it will fall also on Bloor to start work on it.
Okay, I think you've really highlighted everything, Ed, on this application. I really do. Is there any more comments on this? Yeah. Okay. So I think on this application too, add your comments on. Comments only. Would you agree, or would you want to?
Well, personally, I'm supporting
it. So support with comments, I think, would be a great thing. Yeah, I think that speaks volumes. So is that cool with you guys? Okay. So on that account, could I get a proposal on those terms? Go on then. Councillor Lester, no, I'm joking. Councillor Furman, can I get a seconder, please? Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Lester, could we go to the vote, please? Yep, that's carried. Thank you very much. Okay, so
And did you want to vote on the rest of them, other than any of with any comments on it? To take them all as yeah, did you want to, sorry, just vote on the item is for all of those ones on that list?
So, okay, so the last thing is submission of comments, feedback on behalf of the town council to notifications of planning applications in the areas. Is everybody had a look over the items or any items you'd like to add any comments to, or are you happy with everything that we've covered? Yeah. Any comments? Yeah. Could I get a proposer, please? Oh, Councillor Fernandez.
Just quick,
Yeah, go for it.
on the ones that that fall into my ward, I always go back and put on.
Yeah, we
You have your comments and I will submit them to.
Okay, I just wondered how it just sits with, you know, with the full.
Yeah, so in the spreadsheet, I have a section separate where I put council comments that come in.
Thank you.
Okay, any more comments? So to support the submission of the comments and feedback on behalf of the Taunton Town Council, notification of planning applications in the area, could I get a proposer, please? Councillor Tully, could I get a seconder? Councillor Furman, could we go to the vote, please? Yep, that's carried. Thank you very much. Let's close the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
and if those of you who are wishing to stay for the briefing